Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Following last week's volatility and the delivery numbers and the subsequent 2 days of selling afterwards, dropping Tesla about 7% in that 2-day period, we just got a very interesting quote-unquote leak. It's not a leak. Tesla is teasing a new product coming out very soon. We also have FSD V14, which is launching in just a matter of hours. Here in today's episode, we will break down the latest news for Tesla and what you need to know to start off tomorrow, a fresh trading week. We're also going to go over your broader market news today and government shutdown. How long is this going to continue? There is a vote today that could be important. So hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Ladies and gentlemen, check out that link down below in the description of today's episode as well. If you want to come join the trading community, come invest in high quality, small cap, AI, energy, robotics, gene editing companies with us, right? The main themes over the next decade, we want to be early to those. We want to be correct, but we also, equally as important, want to be early to really get those outsized returns. So check it out if you want to come join us. Over 200 active members over there. Link down below in the description of today's episode. But with that said, let's get into today's video. So the biggest piece of news today is this video that the Tesla X account posted. And there's a lot of speculation. It says October 7th, okay? So in 2 days, literally this week, they're teasing on Tuesday that there's going to be quite a large announcement. Now, what could this be? Okay, I have a couple opinions. It could be the Roadster, although I see that as less likely. It could be what some people are speculating, some kind of flying drone or AVOL vehicle. That's definitely a possibility. Just given that's kind of a semi-hot area right now. Most likely, it is the cheaper, lower-priced Tesla. Why? Because we are expecting that before the end of the year. So if we're expecting deliveries before the end of the year, it would be on par to get some news about this soon. To give a month or so to actually get deliveries going. And there's definitely, again, something spinning in this video, which this could be, you know, like a hubcap, right? Or like a tire or like a rim spinning. But there's a lot of speculation out there that this could be something else. Like this guy here says, spoiler, it's a rotor for their first drone. Flying car confirmed. This guy says, could be a new Roadster, actually. Okay. This guy says, Tesla electric jet turbine. Likely used in the next-gen Roadster. Option A, to create thrust to be the fastest car ever. Option B, to create the necessary lift for VTOL. Entry to the drone market. So there's a lot of speculation to, you know, what this could be. But likely it's the more affordable Tesla model. Somebody here says Tesla helicopter release date. We don't know exactly what this is going to be. The highest likelihood would favor the cheaper, lower priced Tesla, okay, being unveiled and really scheduling of deliveries. What I do know is following the last 2 days of selling where Tesla stock has dropped about 7%, Tuesday is going to be a big day. Tuesday is going to be a big catalyst. And Tuesday is likely a day in which Tesla stock goes through quite a rally. Okay, because now expectations are low and nobody was really expecting any news for this week besides FSD V14, which according to Elon is coming out anytime now, within hours potentially. So again, if it is a lower priced, cheaper Tesla product, that's going to get Wall Street excited. If it is anything like a drone or the Roadster, that's going to get Wall Street excited. There's really no bad answer here, but I do think a lower, cheaper priced Tesla is probably the better case scenario. That's, again, what Wall Street can easily model in: higher deliveries, hopefully stable or better margins. Right? So Tuesday is going to be a massive day. And if it is a cheaper, lower priced Tesla, I would not be shocked if we're hitting a new, 10-month high this week, potentially breaking into the 500s. Now, a lot of people are like, hey, oh my gosh, what happened? Like, why did the last 2 days Tesla stock sell off on much better than expected deliveries? And it's obvious. There was a lot of traders. There was a lot of people that, bought the rumor and sold the news. There was a lot of residual sellers. What does residual seller mean? I know some people hear that and they're like, what are you talking about? Residual seller? Like residue? Residual seller. So when you get these buy the rumor, sell the news events, there's some people that immediately sell right after the news comes out. There's some people that we're trading this stock that are like, okay, I'll see how this kind of shakes out. That sell, kind of add this selling pressure over the course of hours or days, right? Residual sellers are traders, number one. But residual sellers don't all sell at the same time. Most of them sell right after the news comes out, good or bad, right? Because they were traders. But it can take a few days to get those residual sellers out the way. I expect that starting off tomorrow's trading day, those residual sellers are gone. There's going to be quite a bit of optimism for Tuesday's event. Again, we've seen recent analysts come out and talk about FSD V14 as in and of itself being a big catalyst for Tesla. And that is coming within hours. And now we're going to have a new product launch, something that Tesla felt the need to literally post a teaser video about. Keep in mind that Elon is now very much incentivized to get Tesla stock as high as possible. Right? Like that's Elon's MO at this point. Elon wants the stock to move higher now, which was a lot different than years prior, where Elon was kind of disincentivized to promote Tesla at all, right? It was not in his best interest to say anything positive or hype up about Tesla. Now that has definitely changed. So this week, we know on Monday, we have FSD V14. That's a big catalyst. But everyone's going to be looking ahead towards Tuesday. And what this is going to mean, again, unless we get some kind of crazy rally on Monday and the stock gets super euphoric, like a 10, 15, 20% rally, I believe Tuesday's catalyst is going to be positive regardless. That likely sends us into the 500s. As really the residual sellers are gone and the buyers step back in to the stock. The RSI is at 59.5. Okay. It was recently as high as 81. There's a lot of room to move higher again on that RSI. There's a lot of room for momentum to come back into the stock, especially considering deliveries were a blowout and the stock fell 7%. Like that is that's going to be seen as a positive. I've said this on the channel for the last 2 days now. Whenever there is selling pressure on good news, it doesn't last. Good news, a good news sell-off is not the reason for a breakdown of the longer term trend, right? We did see on Friday, which was very encouraging, a retest of almost that 20-day moving average, around $414 per share. On Friday, we did have a low of the day of $416.58. What happened though? As soon as we hit that low, the stock bounced aggressively. Okay. And even into the last couple of minutes, the stock took, a $2 move higher in the last 5 minutes of the trading day on a Friday. Okay. How it works from a Wall Street perspective is, if things are really bad and people are nervous, they're not going to buy the stock into a weekend, right? Where anything can happen, anything can change. The fact that you actually seen a recovery so dramatically, right? From $416 within the course of about 2 hours, the stock went up, $15 a share? On a company the size of Tesla is a sign of strength. And now we're heading into V14 in hours and a new big catalyst on Tuesday. Guys, this could be the week that we break into the 500s. Now, what's exciting about this was an unscheduled catalyst, right? Or event on Tuesday. Unscheduled. So everything else we talked about in prior videos, upcoming catalysts, are still in play. If this is not the cheaper, lower priced Tesla, that catalyst is still in play. The shareholder meeting is still in play. Tesla investing in XAI. And Elon's compensation package being approved. Those catalysts are still in play. Tesla expanding into new cities for the robotaxi. All of that still in play. So we just got a surprise teaser catalyst announced, and all the other positive catalysts are still coming. There is going to be a lot of bullish fuel on this fire to send Tesla stock dramatically higher into the end of the year. If this is the new lower price Tesla, hopefully kind of different from the idea of what we had of a lower price Tesla, which is basically just a stripped down Model Y or Model 3. Hopefully it's something a little bit more unique than that. Either way, it's going to boost sales. Analysts are going to be excited about that. But if some of these other catalysts come to fruition, as I expect, Tesla could be a well over $600 stock by the end of the year, right? It's October 5th today. Tomorrow is October 6th. There's a handful of major catalysts coming. And now Wall Street is flipped to be more bullish on the stock. It's only a matter of time before a little bit of retail euphoria comes back into Tesla as well. And honestly, I'm excited for what this week holds for Tesla. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you think the event is around Tuesday? Do you think it is Tesla's venture into some kind of drone or flying, VTOL? Do you think it's the cheaper, lower price Tesla? Do you think it's the Roadster? Do you think it's something totally different? Let me know your thoughts down below. Zachary on X says, which is a right point to point out, that Tesla last month has hit the highest monthly candle close in the history of the stock. So, yeah, we are starting to set into a new range. NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang recently commented on Tesla's Optimus. He says, quote, I think the Optimus opportunity is just right around the corner. And this is the first robot that really has a chance to achieve the high volume and technology scale necessary to advance technology. And so I think this is likely to be the next multi-trillion-dollar industry. Tesla, the reason why Tesla's Optimus is going to be so successful is not necessarily that it's the best robot out there. Nope. The best cars to ever, be introduced into the marketplace. Most of them did not become successful or successful companies, right? There's a lot of cars out there that are better than what you see on the markets today. This is going to stump a lot of people, okay? And it's kind of hard to fathom because you think the best product is going to be successful, right? It's not the case. It's manufacturing. Manufacturing of cars is the reason why every other car company besides Ford and Tesla based in the US have went bankrupt, right? Ford and Tesla are the only two car companies that have never went bankrupt that are at least based in America, okay? Because it's so hard to manufacture cars profitably at scale during any market condition. Recessions obviously are very difficult. Boom times can be difficult, okay? Optimus and robots are the exact same thing. So the company that's going to really be successful with robotics, it's one part robot and technology and AI and codes and all of that. A lot of companies will be able to do that. Prototypes, that's one thing. Being able to actually manufacture something like Optimus at scale, profitably, with a longevity, nope. Tesla's gonna be the company that can do that, right? That's it. That's the bottom line. You think anyone else is going to be able to, Boston Dynamics is going to be able to mass produce their robot at scale profitably with a longevity associated with it? Probably not. The odds are overwhelmingly not in their favor. Tesla, the odds are in Tesla's favor that they will be successful here. And Jensen Huang pointing that out. Again, what more do you need? And in really the space of AI, Tesla is unique in the sense of they are already a very established company, but they're breaking into fields, brand new fields that are worth trillions of dollars. Not too often do you see major established companies breaking into new markets and dominating them that are worth trillions of dollars. The only other company I can think of in recent time that has done anything remotely like this is NVIDIA. I mean, they were top tier when it came to GPUs already, but they basically founded the AI GPU market. They were basically the founding fathers of that. And essentially broke into a new market. Tesla, it's the only other company that is doing that. Meta is not doing that. Netflix is not doing that. Amazon is not doing that. Apple is not doing that. Nobody else is doing that. Now, I point all of this out because it's only a matter of time before what I'm saying in these videos is mainstream info for everyone. And once everyone realizes, oh wait, Tesla's going to be successful in Optimus, Tesla is still going to have a car company, Tesla's energy business has decades of growth and profits to come, that's when people are going to be, excited to buy Tesla at $1,000 a share. But you get the information when the stock's 400. Obviously, not a financial advisor and not financial advice. Now, White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett said that layoffs for federal government employees will begin if President Donald Trump decides that negotiations to end the government shutdown are absolutely going nowhere. Hassett expressed optimism that negotiations this week could resolve the impasse. His comments come as the government shutdown enters a new week with no clear off-ramp in sight. So we don't really have any good news to report. There is a vote happening today in the Senate. And we'll see how that goes. But there are some very big holdups in getting the government funded. Now, good news is Wall Street's not freaking out over this. Good news is that, in fact, the bias is, as the government is shut down, as we are not getting BLS data, that's not great because we don't know exactly where the economy is at. But the bias is for the Fed to accommodate the economy. The bias is, or the biggest risk is, that the labor market unexpectedly weakens in the next couple of months. And by the time the government opens, the labor market is even worse than it is today. That's the risk, right? The risk is not that you do nothing and inflation skyrockets in the next 3 months. That is not the risk. So in a weird way, the government being shut down could actually be a positive for stocks, right? Which historically it is, right? Baseline, the last 5 government shutdowns we had before this one, that this is going to make the 6th government shutdown, they've been bullish. Like S&P up on average over 3%. Technology leads towards the end of a shutdown. Once it's getting resolved, financials tend to lead. Small caps tend to lead on the back end of that. 10-year treasury yields tend to fall about 10 basis points, okay? Really doesn't have any implications for like a credit downgrade. Fitch just recently came out and said this government shutdown, no matter how long it lasts, is not a reason to downgrade U.S. credit. So minus a downgrade, you know, you're fine, right? This government shutdown doesn't mean much, but it does create a bias to cut rates within the Fed, even if we're not going to be getting economic data. And that's why the markets are even more so recently pricing in a cut October 29th. There is a 99.6% chance of a cut October 29th. There is an 84.1% chance of another cut December 10th. Okay. There is a 41.7% chance of another cut January 26th. 50.2% chance of a pause on January 26th. Okay. So the odds of rate cuts are actually going up. There's an 18.5% chance of another cut March 18th. So basically a cut at every Fed meeting through March of 2026. There's a 20% chance of that. There's a 45.5% chance that you get a cut at every Fed meeting through January. Okay, and we hold steady at that rate in March. So yeah, the odds have risen for many consecutive Fed rate cuts. Now for December 9th, 2026, there's a 28.3% chance of the federal funds rate being between 3 and 3.25%. That's the highest likelihood at this point. But there's a almost 27% chance of the federal funds rate being at 2.75 to 3% by December 9th, 2026. So, I mean, government shutdown, whether it gets resolved or not, it's not really a negative for stocks. But if we do see the government actually resolve this government shutdown, I think it would be a positive knee-jerk reaction for the markets. Now, there is also this headline on CNBC that says investors aren't the biggest or the market's biggest loser if Trump and the SEC end quarterly reporting. So the fact that this is being talked about more, the fact that it seems like people are growing a little bit more comfortable and maybe ending quarterly reporting means that if this actually does happen, maybe it's not as big of a surprise than, was thought, okay? The idea was first proposed by Trump in 2018. And basically the accounting firms would be the biggest losers. These 4 here, Deloitte, EY, KPMG, and PwC. They said back in 2018 that they would lose about 15% of their audit fees if they stopped quarterly reporting. So we'll see what happens. This is definitely a potential risk to watch for if we start to hear news of the SEC actually taking steps to get rid of quarterly reporting. I don't think it's going to happen, but it is one of those things where it could make Wall Street a little bit, like you could see how it could create a little bit of uncertainty. Secretary of State Rubio says no one is claiming this is done. I believe this is in regards to the Israel-Hamas potential peace deal. Rubio says hoping it will be finalized very quickly early this week. Rubio says 90% of this has been worked out, and we're just sort of finalizing the logistical piece. Rubio says closest in a long time to no hostages being held by Hamas. Trump says he will know soon if Hamas is serious. Trump says Netanyahu is on board to ending the bombing in Gaza. Trump said this to Netanyahu, quote, "You're always so negative." Axios reports that after Hamas issued its response, U.S. President Donald Trump called Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. When Netanyahu dismissed the development as nothing to celebrate, Trump replied, "I don't know why you're always so fucking negative. This is a win. Take it." Rubio says that Hamas agrees in principle to post-war plans. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts on all of this down below in the comment section. In the next video, we're going to be going over a very important one. We're going to take a look at option activity and positioning for this upcoming week. From a technical perspective, the important levels to watch for, where I think the stock could be going with the V14 catalyst coming tomorrow, and you know, the teaser catalyst on Tuesday, where that could send Tesla stock. We're also going to be looking at any of the events, potential earnings we could be getting this week. Should be starting off with a couple of them this week. Banks typically report first, and any of the economic data that we might be getting. As you know, a lot of it we're not going to get, like from the government or the BLS. But there could be other data sets that we will get, and we'll talk about that in the next video. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to come trade with us live in real time every time we make trades, check out that link down below in the description of this video. But we're really taking investments on a 1 to 3 year time horizon. We're looking for big winners. We're looking to be early in main themes over the next decade. AI, energy, robotics, gene editing, biopharmas, right? These are going to be hot areas. Crypto, Ethereum, treasuries. We own Bitmine, for an example. You know, I think there's a lot of opportunity in this market, more than most people think. Our portfolio is up over 200% this year. That's not a guarantee to continue, but I think it's a strong step in a good direction. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.